Straight off the Warner Brothers lot, it is time to discuss Dune Part 2. It's a reaction and a review here on MMT. Not live today because the embargo just broke 9 a.m. Pacific, and you are seeing my thoughts as we get ready to discuss a good film. Listen, I am not in love with this film as much as I was the first. Now, the second half of this film is stronger than the first half. Let's go over my thoughts overall on the film, and then I'm going to break down the elements. By the way, spoiler-free, all of this will have nothing revealed to you specifically that will ruin this film for you as it comes out this Sunday at AMC early screenings, and then later on that Thursday a week and a half from now. All right, here we go. This is the tweet reaction from me. After watching Dune Part 2, there is zero question, I mean zero, that we are getting Dune 3. The sequel isn't paced as well as the first. The back half of the film delivers all the pure cinema you could ever hope for with the guy you see in the GIF. Austin Butler, you were very wise to invest in him. He is the standout of this film. Let's talk about some of the details of where I believe this film works and maybe some things that could be changed on this film. It's not a perfect film, no question about that. Few films are. When you look at the first Dune, I think you are looking at almost a perfect film for me. I have that rated very close to 100 out of 100. I love the pacing of that film. I think Denis really nailed that after we watched Blade Runner 2049. The pacing just was too slow on that film. Everything takes too long. Every scene goes past its natural expiration date. And as such, the whole film gets dragged down. I think Dune does a great job of eliminating that. Here, we have a longer film. So we have some issues with the first half pacing. I'm telling you, the first 45 minutes of this film, you are going to be a little bit checked out. I looked around the room today at Warner Brothers. I noticed some people that were not fully engaged. There was a woman on her phone a few seats down from me. Thank God I was kind of like this, right? So I didn't see it. So that's a sign that the film needs to pick up the pace. The good news here is that the second half is utterly electrifying. You talk about tip-top stratospheric cinema. That's what you're getting here with Dune 2 and those final battle scenes. I think it really picks up when we get to Chalamet on top of the worm, when he does the worm riding. That's where the film kind of really propels and gets going, but that's about 45 to an hour easily into the film. Okay, so you're going to have patience to get to that second half. And at the end of the day, listen, this is a real feel long film. It's about 15 minutes longer than the first, and you will feel it. I mean, there's no question that this film does not feel as tight as the first. Now, some of you are going to say that film didn't feel tight. Well, guess what? You're going to say this film for sure. But back to some strengths and some weaknesses. A strength for sure is Timothée Chalamet as the film builds, right? So initially, we're still getting that unsure of himself, stepping into the role of the Messiah, right? And by the end, we get the full throttle, full force Chalamet as he inherits the role of Messiah and turns into the leader of the planet that you're looking finally to see. You see that flip. And that happens, so that's a big strength of this film. Late, you're going to see that. Early, you're starting to go, I don't know about this, because I still am not 100% sold on Chalamet. I think a lot of times, same thing with Wonka, and go back to pretty much any one of his performances over the history of his career here, you look at someone who, when he delivers lines, doesn't throw them away, right? It's like if I was doing this right now and stopping and pausing and saying it like the movie was really good, instead of just going, the movie was really good. You just need to let it go, right? Don't sit on it so much. I think he needs to still work on that, but he gets better as the film builds. And one of the big standouts here, I mean, without question, for me, the number one standout is Austin Butler. And you look at Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers brought Austin Butler in after they saw Elvis and saw what he did with Elvis Presley. They said, we want you in Dune 2, and it was one of the smartest decisions. This guy is menacing in this film, and he gets the accent, the Harkonnen accent. He gets it, the Skarsgård accent. It sounds like the same thing, so he's done his work. He can do Elvis. He can do Harkonnen. This guy's the real deal, and Warner Brothers knows it, and I'm telling you, he's also a little bit jacked in this film. My boy's been hitting the gym, which, of course, we always love to see. I think one of the things that's going to be a major issue for a lot of people is this is not the conclusion. As I pointed to in that reaction tweet, this is not the end. There is no way that this is the finale of the Dune franchise. I think, and we're going to talk about this coming up on Wednesday night. If you're watching this on Wednesday, tonight, we're going to do a live stream with your questions about the film, spoiler-free. And I'm telling you right now, I think Denis purposely made this film the way that he did so that Warner Brothers would be forced to make a third Dune. When you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't want to give anything away because I already promised you spoiler-free. All in all here, it's an MMT score of 91%. Very high, not as high as the first one, and I know that's going to get me a lot of grief. Might be the most controversial take I've ever had, which says something, right? That I think that Dune 1 is better than Dune 2. That's not to say Dune 2 is a disappointment. I just hold Dune 1 in higher regard right now. Maybe with repeated viewings, we might change, but I'm telling you, the real feel of this film needs to be contracted. There needs to be space taken out of this film and compacted down, and you'd have a better Dune 2. But again, no question we get Dune 3. Can't wait to talk about it tonight if you're watching this on Wednesday. Live stream at 8 o'clock in LA. We'll discuss Dune 2, additional thoughts. Until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on MMT.